An older woman taught her son a savage lesson and left him only a broken vase with a meaningful note that made him realize his mother didn't let him off the hook. Who the hell are they, Mom? And what are they doing inside our house? Mrs. Miller's son Aaron yelled at her as he walked in and saw two children playing and a woman assisting her around the house. Mrs. Miller glared at Aaron. Don't forget, Aaron, that your father left this house to me and I get to decide who stays and who doesn't. Are you crazy, Mom? You picked up some random strangers from the street and brought them here, and now you're lashing out at me as if I'm talking nonsense. You are talking nonsense, Aaron. Tell me, how did you suddenly remember that you needed to pay a visit to your sick mother? Where have you been for the past 8 years? I called you several times, but half of the time you didn't have time for me, and the other half of the time you just hung up on me. And you think you can come here and yell at me? Get out of here. Mom, I think your sickness has gone to your head. You really prefer those creeps to me? I mean, seriously? Mom, I'm your son and they're nobody. You really need to calm down and kick them out of here. Not me. Oh, really? Mrs. Miller glared at him. You know what, Aaron, I might be old and sick, but I am not blind. Let me tell you why you're here. It's because you're looking forward to the day I die and everything I own will be yours. That's why as soon as you found out about my illness, you flew over to see me. Yes, Aaron, that is correct, but let me tell you, you are not getting a single penny out of whatever I own, and I will make sure of it. What did you just say? You're disinheriting me? Are you? Before Aaron could finish his sentence, the woman staying with Mrs. Miller, Cynthia Jones, interrupted him. Mrs. Miller, please calm down. So much stress is not good for your health. Please sit down and have some water. You're having fun, aren't you? Aaron yelled at Cynthia. You're thrilled to see her kick me out of this house so you and your little brats can live in peace, aren't you? You know what? Pack your stuff and get the hell out of here. Enough, Aaron. Cynthia took care of me while you didn't even bother to check on your mother. She is my tenant, but she treats me like her family. But you wouldn't get that with a rotten mind like yours. So, if someone's leaving the house, it's you, not Cynthia. Get out before I call the cops. Aaron lost his cool at this point. He looked around angrily and started smashing anything and everything that came into his sight in anger, including the vase that was his father's last gift to his mother before storming out of the house. When Mrs. Miller saw the vase broken into pieces, she broke down in tears like a child. Oh no, that was George's last gift to me. How dare he? He'll be sorry for what he did. I will not let him off the hook so easily, Cynthia. Really? I mean, the last time I saw her, I thought she'd disinherit me. Aaron was overjoyed when he received a phone call from Mrs. Miller's lawyer after her funeral informing him that she did not disinherit him, or so he thought. Sure, Mr. Miles, I'll be at your office at 3 p.m. Thank you, Aaron. I hope you won't be late because I've got to meet other folks today. Don't worry, Mr. Miles, I'll be there on time. Thank you very much. Aaron replied and hung up. Why did Mom have to create such a fuss then? I knew that old hag wouldn't disinherit me. After all, I'm her only living relative. Who would she even give all her estate to except me? Aaron smiled deviously, convinced that he would be the sole heir to his mother's estate. He had no idea what awaited him at the lawyer's office. What the hell? Is this some kind of joke? When Aaron saw the somewhat haphazardly glued vase and a box his mother had left him, his rage knew no bounds. What about Mom's $1 million estate, Mr. Miles? Dad had left her roughly $1. $2 million. What in the world did Mom do with that? Did she just give it away for free? Well, Aaron, Mr. Miles said, you'd know if you let me finish reading the will. I've only read the first half. According to her will, the $1 million estate you've been talking about goes not to charity but to Cynthia Jones and her children, where Mrs. Jones would receive half of the estate's total value while the other half would be shared equally by her 2 children who would inherit it when they reached the age of 18. That's all there is to it. What? Mom left it to that weirdo tenant? But why? Well, that's something only Mrs. Miller can explain. Please excuse me now that our business is done here. There are people waiting for me outside. Aaron rose to his feet enraged and looked at the vase again. He yanked it from the box and smashed it on the ground in rage, shattering it into several pieces yet again. What a waste! I hate her. I hate her. I swear, he cried angrily, cursing his mother for the petty inheritance. Just then, a slip of paper amongst the broken pieces caught his attention. He picked it up to see what it was and read the savage message his mother had left him. One day, everyone will get what they deserve. You got this, because unfortunately the mother's heart is more difficult to glue than this vase. What can we learn from this story? Never hurt your parents. Aaron was a selfish son who had little regard for Mrs. Miller. The woman was aware of this, so she taught him a harsh lesson. Children must sometimes learn a lesson the hard way. Mrs. Miller didn't let Aaron off the hook for how he treated her and taught him a good lesson.